planning, and focused effort. Good morning everyone, I'm Kush, and it is indeed my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to our BharatPe keynote session, part of the Fintech Summit in Tryst 2022. Tryst is North India's largest science, technology and management festival, presented by Graphite GTC, a no-code development platform, and organized by the student community of IIT Delhi. It aims to bring together the world's leading scientific minds, leaders, and influential thinkers, and connect them to the academic community across India. This year's theme, A Voyage to the Zenith, focuses on capturing the advancement in business, academic, technological, and socio-economic domains that the world has undergone in the past few years. The title sponsor of Tryst 2022, Graphite GTC, is a no-code development platform that allows users to build entire enterprise class web applications visually, without ever writing a line of code. The visual tools provided within the platform allow business users and subject matter experts to actively participate in the software development process, resulting in reduced risk and better communication. To know more about Graphite, you can visit the Graphite booth in the lecture hall complex. For today's session, we have been fortunate enough to be joined by an industry leader and expert to discuss current challenges and business opportunities, share knowledge, and identify solutions aimed at shaping the future of fintech. Thus, we are privileged and honored to have with us a very illustrious guest, Mr. Shashvat Nakrani, the founder of BharatPe. If you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. What happens when a regular student decides to take a life-changing risk to follow his dream and build his own legacy? It was in his third year into textile engineering at IIT Delhi that Mr. Nakrani decided to pursue his dream of building a startup at an age of just 19 years old. Shashwat's sacrifice of job security from being an IIT pass out to follow his dream of building a startup and taking it to such great heights within such a short period is incredibly inspiring. The bold risk that he took as a young student eventually led to path-breaking success, and at merely 23 years of age, he etched his name in IIFL's Wealth Huron India Rich List as the youngest self-made Indian billionaires born in the 90s. From his initial college days itself, he had a mind for starting his own business, as he had initially launched a startup called bookmyhaircut.com, and from there, his focus became clear to be the true partner for small and medium enterprise of Bharat, and thus, at that time, he recognized a business opportunity to build a payment gateway, one that merchants could easily access and did not eat up their margins. He made use of the interoperability feature of the Unified Payment Interface (UPI) to meet this demand. With that, BharatPe was born, which is now the fastest growing fintech startup of our country. Today, it is the largest B2B fintech lender in India, facilitating disbursals of over rupees 300 crore every month. Thus, it's completely justified to call Mr. Nakrani as the youngest self-made individual. On BharatPe, merchants can sign up instantly and start accepting payments with a single QR code directly into their bank account, and have the flexibility to earn up to 12% interest on those payments and even take loans whenever they need. In the words of Mr. Shashvat, I created my own business with the objective of providing a payment acceptance product that had no charges for merchants. We aspire to be the one-stop business utility app for offline merchants in India. We once again thank you, sir, and are extremely delighted to have you with us this morning. Now, without taking more time, we will be beginning the session. There's also going to be an audience question-answer round towards the end of the discussion. With that, I would like to hand over the stage to our esteemed guest. Can we have a huge round of applause for him?
क्या हाल है? हिंदी में चिल है कि फाइट है? कुछ चिल है? पंजी छग्गी वाले लोग बैठे हैं, सत्ती अट्ठी वाले बैठे? ऑनलाइन के बहुत मजे लिए हैं सबने। अच्छा, I generally don't speak much in public forums, but today was something different, something special. Many alumni, many dignitaries would have come here on this stage, but very few of them would have come here just 3 years after their graduation. So thought, let's so the idea is, अगर आज मैं आधे घंटे पौने घंटे कुछ बोलूं, कुछ ज्ञान दूं और आप में से कुछ किसी को कुछ चमक जाए और भारत में जैसे कई और यूनिकॉर्न्स यहाँ पे बने, तो दैट वुड बी द बिगेस्ट विन. So I'll start with what a startup is, right? ज्ञान तो बहुत चल रहा है मार्केट में, ये होता है वो होता है, यूनिकॉर्न्स होते हैं, but what it ultimately in its truest sense is, right? Then we'll come to what a fintech is, then we'll come to where India stands in its fintech ecosystem. Then I've added a bit portion of history of payments. It's a bit interesting, and then later part of it I'll recall some of my moments from this college and our journey in BharatPe. So what is a startup actually? So it's very simple in layman terms. Startup is a solution to a problem statement. There is a problem statement, there is a solution, and there are few individuals who are committed to solve that problem. That's what a startup is. तो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट की बात करें अगर, एंड वेयर डज इंडिया स्टैंड इन स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम, राइट? अपना देश बहुत यूनिक है, प्रॉब्लम्स की कमी नहीं है यहाँ पे. So there are lots of problem statements. What is a solution? A solution is how innovative you are in solving that problem. हिंदी में जिसको जुगाड़ बोलते हैं, और अपना देश आई थिंक सबसे जुगाड़ू देश है. So there are lots of problems, there are lots of solutions, there are people who are willing to do jugads, there are people who have capability to do jugads, right? And that is what is driving the Indian story of the startup ecosystem. Last year itself there are 44 unicorns. Isn't that amazing? 30 years before that, we had total of what? 45 other unicorns, and just last year itself, we had 44 unicorns. The entire capital of the world wants to invest in India. It's a great time to be a founder. When we were raising funds at BharatPe, we had to pitch to investors. Why would they invest in us? Investors got to choose founders. There were very few funds and with a limited amount of money. But right now money is flooding everywhere. Investors are pitching to founders. Why should they choose that fund? It's a great time to be a founder. Government is pro startup, policies are pro startup, they are pro digital. There are initiatives like Digital India, there is UPI, there is Aadhaar, there is India Stack. Everything favoring the startup ecosystem. What more do we want? But India had a lot of problems. India has that jugadu mindset of solutions. India has that bright individuals. India has pro-startup government. Then why only last year? What happened recently that changed this scenario? Why 44 unicorns last year? Thanks to Mukesh Bhai and company, Team Jio, we have internet access in every household of India. All these companies, all these unicorns, you should go study. They have exponential growth since Jio launched. I mean, they had their own reasons, they had their own profits to make, but like there is a huge value add in the startup ecosystem. We are the largest internet consumers in the whole world. It's a great time to be a founder. And startups are across industries. You know, health tech, edu tech, advertisement में ad tech, regulations में reg tech. One of them is fintech. I'll be focusing on the fintech part. So what's a fintech? Again, in the simplest terms, it's anything that has to do with payments, lending and banking. But this is all being done by banks. Why do we need fintechs? Why are there startups? Banks are already doing that. HDFC, SBI, ICICI, all are doing that. Fintechs solve for consumer experience. We provide a look and feel, an experience to the consumer, the convenience, the discounts, the innovations. That's what a fintech is. At the back end, banks are powering them. At the end, you need a license to give loans. At the end, you need regulators, regulated entities. None of the fintechs are regulated. But on the front end, where consumer interface is, that's what matters. The convenience. You see the app. Why would you use Beam and why would you use Google Pay? There is a difference. And thanks to UPI and all the government, India Stack and all the policies, we are at the forefront of fintech revolution. Our fintech adoption rate is highest in the world. So I talked fintech has payments, lending, banking, everything. I have limited time, so I'll talk about payments. What is a payment? What's the history of payment? So payment is nothing but a promise. A promise that this piece of paper will give you that amount of money. And remember, it's always voluntary. A payment cannot be involuntary. Just think of it. It is always voluntary. Do you feel the payment anywhere? In today's times, no. We scan a QR code, we make a transaction, we don't feel the payment. Where's the money? But it wasn't like this always. So where did we start from? कहाँ से आया payments? पहले क्या करते थे लोग? It's interesting to know. Payment did have a look and feel. It started with exchange. And this is a very, I tried to put examples which are more relatable, which are simple. आप मेरी पीठ खुजलाओ, मैं आपकी पीठ खुजलाता हूँ, ऐसे चालू हुआ. बट किसी के एक बंदे ने बोला मेरे को पीठ नहीं खुजलानी, मेरे को खाना चाहिए, भूख लग रही है मेरे को. Then starts bartering. You give me something, I'll give you something else. And this started in 10,000 BC. Can you imagine? Thousands of years before there was payment. Bartering had a problem. You give me something, I'll give you something else. But what if what I'm giving you is worth more than what you're giving me? There is no way to define the value. मेरे पास कुछ है, आपके पास कुछ है, हम दोनों को एक दूसरे की चीज चाहिए, बट वी डोंट नो कौन सी ज्यादा वर्थ है, कौन सी कम वर्थ है. Then comes the precious metals. There is a value assigned to a transaction. Government had started minting coins for tax payments. There were leather stamps. Then the currency was introduced. It was in two forms, coins and notes. China was the first one to introduce. वो भी जुगाड़ू लोग हैं, हम भी जुगाड़ू लोग हैं. वो थोड़े अलग तरीके के लोग हैं. Paper money was backed by gold at the time. 1800 to 1930 was the era of currency. Paper money, everything backed by gold. But then there was the Great Depression. Gold lost its value. People were skeptical. If gold is not worth anything, how can that be a base of our payment? Then came the next era of payments. There was rise of capitalism, technology, banks, and then the checks were introduced. And this is good to know, it's CHECK check, not QE. The first check that was issued is when army started paying salaries on a quarter of playing cards. And these are the photos of the same. What is a check? A check is again a promise. I owe you something. It is a promise that you'll get the money. Amex was the first one to launch traveler checks. आप travel कर रहे हो, ये check लेके जाओ, हर जगह use करो. We have our merchants, they're accepting Amex checks. Then came the cards. Department stores, restaurants, they started giving cards to their loyal customers. हिंदी में बही खाता बोलते हैं जिसको. Or what we call opening a tab. You pay at the end of the month, you come here every day. First card was Diners Club card, launched with 200 customers and 30 restaurants. Cards are of two types, of course, debit card and credit card. First debit card was issued in UK by Barclays. Credit card was started in US. Then came into picture Visa, MasterCard, the duopoly behemoths that rule the payments world today. Where do you use the card? At POS machines. There's a company called First Data which started it. It still exists today. It still is the leader in POS machines. First Data in India is owned by ICICI Bank. So what does POS machine do? It makes a merchant online. The system through which you can check if this card is valid or not, if this card has balance or not. And it uses authentication, payment, and promise keeping. बिजनेस मॉडल क्या था कार्ड का? आप कंज्यूमर्स को पैसे दो, रिवॉर्ड्स दो और मर्चेंट से पैसा लो. Why would merchant pay you? Because you are bringing customers. You are giving credit to customers. Sergey Brin and Larry Page, they were running Google on credit card. And Amex was the pioneer in travel cards. It still is the biggest travel card company. So this has been the brief history of payments. And this does not include the modern developments of UPI and India Stack and all. That we all know. UPI came into existence. Demonetization हुआ, UPI picked pace. Digital payments picked pace. I doubt अभी कोई कैश यूज करता है Tier 1 cities में. I don't carry cash. It's an historical event. COVID has provided great tailwind to the adoption of UPI. We've been fortunate कि ये दो events की वजह से we are seeing exponential growth in UPI transactions. In just 1 year, it has grown to 3x of their pre-pandemic value. ये सब थोड़ा ज्ञान मैं स्किप कर रहा हूँ. Yeah, so interesting fact. Pizza Hut was the first company to do an online payment. But there was a condition. You must know how to code to make a payment. And this was the interface. It's a real picture. You need encrypted codes to authorize a payment. Coca-Cola launched mobile payment, pay through text messages at their vending machines. This is all evolution, you know. कि हम कहाँ से कहाँ जाते हैं. This is the journey. Now payments are multi-party. Bartering में there was no middleman, only two parties involved. Then banks came into picture. It was a three-party transaction. Credit card, there are four parties involved. And right now, in UPI, or in credit card or debit card, there are more than 30 parties involved. Do we realize that at the time of making a payment? It's become so much evolved and so much complex, and yet so smooth and so convenient. And that's the beauty of it. I would now like to spend some time on how did I start BharatPe. Lots of memories in this college. Not long back, I used to sit there listening to people. हमारे टाइम पे मार्क ज़करबर्ग आया था. वहाँ दरवाजे के बाहर भी भीड़ लगी हुई थी. I was in my third year. We were going to different places. अभी तो मालूम है टाइम चल रहा है ट्रिस्ट का, रॉन्डेवू का, हाउस पार्टीज होती है, ऑल नाइटर्स लगाते हैं. आई एम सरप्राइज पीपल हैव कम हियर एट 10 o'clock. मैं तो नहीं आता था. इतने टाइम बाद कॉलेज आए हो, सारी खुन्नस निकालनी. But we used to go to lot of markets, lot of merchants. We observed some clear gaps. UPI was there, UPI was launched, Bheem was launched. मोदी जी आए थे, भाषण दिया था, भीम है बहुत अच्छा है, नाम दिया भीम, भारत इंटरफेस फॉर मनी, बट इंस्पायर्ड बाय भीमराव आम्बेडकर. पॉलिटिक्स आ गई उसमें भी. बट नोबडी न्यू. जब मर्चेंट से बात करते थे, यूपीआई तो मालूम नहीं क्या है, यहाँ पे वो पेटीएम वाला आके लगा गया, पेटीएम चलाओ, आपको चला नहीं तो निकलो यहां से. कोई बोले कि सर इसी क्यूआर कोड पे आपको मालूम है सारी ऐप चल जाएगी, बोलते थे क्या बकवास कर रहे हो यार, जिस ऐप को चलानी है उसका क्यूआर कोड लगाना पड़ता है ना. नोबडी न्यू. एंड सरप्राइजिंगली Fampay, Paytm, all the big players, they were not promoting it. They are at the core of it, a consumer business. They want their app to be used at a QR code, not anyone else's. Why would they promote? We saw a clear gap. कि आज की डेट पे there is not a single company who is willing to give merchant finance solutions, payment solutions. Paytm, Fampay, they are working for their consumers. They are not thinking about merchants. Merchants को क्या चाहिए? उनको स्मूथ पेमेंट्स चाहिए और लोन चाहिए थोड़ी बहुत, धंधा चलाना है, वर्किंग कैपिटल चाहिए, नई दुकान खोलनी है, एक्सपेंशन के लिए कैपिटल चाहिए. Traditionally, it has been looked as a very risky segment. Banks, NBFCs, they don't go to merchants for loans. They don't have any visibility. कल को दुकान बंद करके चला गया, ट्रांजैक्शन कितनी हो रही है, they don't know. Nobody, not a single company was there to give service to merchants. We saw the clear gap, and I'll show you the picture. We were 5-6 people from Zanskar hostel. घूमते रहते थे पूरे दिन मार्केट में, पढ़ना वढ़ना तो पहले से ही नहीं था. हजारों मर्चेंट से बात की. It was over a duration of 3 months and 5-6 people. 2-3 चीजें क्लियरली मालूम पड़ी. Merchants don't want to pay MDR or commission to process payments. अगर कोई आके पैसे दे रहा है, they don't want to give a part of their profit to anyone. क्लासिक इंडियन माइंडसेट, सर्विस चाहिए, पैसे नहीं देने. फ्री में कर रहे हो तो लगाओ, नहीं तो चले जाओ. बट अगर कोई लोन देता है उनको, दे वुड हैप्पीली पे इंटरेस्ट. लोकल साहूकार्स, लोकल बनिए, दे वर देयर सोर्स ऑफ फंड्स. वीकली 1%, मंथली 5% देते हैं इंटरेस्ट. क्या करें, ऑप्शन ही नहीं. So 2-3 things were very clear to us. मर्चेंट्स को पैसे नहीं देने पेमेंट्स के लिए, 1. Second, if you give loan to a merchant, he'll happily pay interest. Third, if you bring more customers to his shop, he's willing to give commission on that, or he's willing to pay for that. But the thing is, everybody is helping them with payments, QR code, Paytm, Fampay. But nobody is giving them loans, nobody is bringing customers. That's where it struck us. Let's build a company focused for shopkeepers of this country. And let's give them all the financial products they need. मार्वल फॉलो करते हो सब? लोकी देखिए, लोकी. वी हैड आवर ग्लोरियस पर्पस. This is the timeline of BharatPe journey. We were working out of hostel rooms in the beginning. Then we got the funding, moved to Malvi Nagar, a basement. We were 6 people team. In 2018, August, is where we launched our first QR code product. It was India's first interoperable UPI QR code. We were the ones who had put every kind of logo on a QR code. You use any app, 150 plus apps who are supported by UPI. A payment can be made at this QR code. Now the beauty of this is that BharatPe don't need to be a consumer company. We don't need to go to consumer, download BharatPe, then make a payment. Whatever app you have, you make a payment. We are at merchant's end. Merchant has our QR code. We have visibility of the transaction. We process the transaction. We settle it to merchant. We get every kind of data there is. And we don't need to be a consumer company. We thought बढ़िया है यार, बाकी सबको कंज्यूमर कंपनी बनाने दो, स्कैन अपने क्यूआर पे करेंगे. क्यूआर कोड लॉन्च किया 2018 में. I moved to Bangalore for few months. Bangalore was the best city to launch. Used to stand in front of Fampay office, Paytm office. कोई बाहर निकलता था, भैया क्या हाल है, कैसे हो? जरा बताओ मर्चेंट कैसा ऑनबोर्ड करता? Invest in people, invest in team. We got our first few initial hires standing in front of their office. क्या सैलरी मिलती है? 50,000 मिलती है, 75,000 ले लो, हमारे साथ आ जाओ. 1 लाख मिलते हैं, 1.5 लाख ले लो, आ जाओ हमारे साथ. We learned how to build a merchant network. And we had the best product, of course. Interoperable QR code. Merchants के लिए it was like magic. पता नहीं कैसे करते हो आप लोग, पर चल जाता है. उनको लग रहा था हमने सबके साथ टाइप्स किए हुए हैं. पेटीएम, फोन पे, गूगल पे, एवरीबडी इज आवर पार्टनर. We were very aggressive. On 2019 itself, we crossed $1 billion of TPV annualized, 7,500 crores. We had lakhs of active merchant. उसी साल हमारा सीरीज बी राउंडिंग फंडिंग राउंड खत्म हुआ एट वैल्यूएशन ऑफ 50 million. Growth was such, every 3-4 months we used to raise a new round. In 2019 itself, we started experimenting with our loan product. Now it was clear to us the only monetization in this segment is through loans. Again, we were the first ones in India to launch a daily installment loan. आपके हफ्ते महीने में नहीं, रोज कटेंगे, छोटे छोटे कटेंगे पर रोज कटेंगे. Whatever you transact at a QR code, रात को हफ्ता कटेगा, बाकी का पैसा सेटल हो जाएगा. Very convenient, very smooth. Never seen before. But we'll charge 2% a month. Again, very cheap from what they were getting. It got picked up. %90 of our revenue comes from our loans. It's the core of our monetization. Till the time loan was launched, zero revenue. It was the not only first interoperable QR code, but first free of cost QR code. The idea was to expand the network, give payments for free, have access of that network and data, and then underwrite loans. We did just that. Till date, we have disbursed close to 4,000 crores of loans. We're disbursing every month 300-350 crores of loans. And this is just to 3 lakh merchants. Our current merchant network is close to 50 lakh. Just scratching the surface. Then 2020 came, COVID first wave. फर्स्ट वेव में लॉकडाउन था, सब वेले वेले बैठे थे ऑफिस में. सोचा नेक्स्ट क्या करते हैं, कार्ड मशीन लॉन्च करते हैं. If we have visibility of a certain portion of merchants business through QR code, इसको और बढ़ाए कैसे? कार्ड मशीन देते हैं, कार्ड ट्रांजैक्शन भी आ जाएंगे. टिपिकली कार्ड ट्रांजैक्शंस आर 2-3 times more than QR transactions. And that's all there is in digital payments. QR code use करो, कार्ड यूज करो और कैश यूज करो. 3 ही मोड है इंडिया के शॉपकीपर के पास. Again we launched India's first free of cost zero MDR card machine. We stay true to our observations. Make payments free. And observe the pattern here. जब QR कोड लॉन्च किया था वो नया था. It was India's first. But the reality of life in our country is that people will catch up. Paytm, Fampay, everyone converted their QR into interoperable QR. Every logo is there every day. You see any QR right now, everything looks the same. The thing is, you need to be at it. You need to keep innovating. You need to give something new after every interval of time. People will catch up, but you need to be ahead of them. कार्ड मशीन लॉन्च किया. विद इन 1 year we had 1 lakh card machines placed. Right now we are POS, India's number 2 player, and the first player took 10 years to reach there. In December we hit a different kind of milestone. On QR codes or merchant QR code payments, we became a number 3 largest transaction processor. We surpassed Google Pay. It was huge for us. Then came 2021. We acquired a company called Payback. It's a loyalty infrastructure company. It came with consumer base of around 10 crore people. Soon we became the first fintech of India to get a banking license. We launched a new entity called Unity Small Finance Bank. You'll see this logo more and more. And mark my words, it would be India's first truly digital bank. Lots of fintechs, but everybody is backed by some kind of bank partners. Banks are very smart. They've known their time has come. Let's partner with fintechs. If their business grows, our business also grows. This is the first bank that any fintech has got in this country. It's just getting started. We're launching in it next 3 months, Unity app. People would be able to open accounts, get checkbooks, cards, loans, everything. In August of 2021, we became unicorn with a close to 3 billion valuation. We tried to be under the radar for as long as we can. The round before this one was at a 950 million valuation. We chose to not become a unicorn at 1 billion valuation. But this time there was no option. 3 billion पे तो यूनिकॉर्न बनना ही पड़ेगा. We became unicorn with the 3 billion round. Around Diwali we launched our first consumer app. The 3 things that I said, we stay true to it even today. Merchant के लिए payments is free, we'll earn money on loans, and we'll get merchants more consumers, and that we'll get money from that. So postpay is not our consumer ambitions. Postpay is to help our merchant base. What's the next big thing? UPI अभी पूरा डेबिट पे चलता है. It gets deducted from your bank account instantly. There is no credit on UPI. That's where we wanted to be. अपने देश का बाय डिफॉल्ट पेमेंट मोड UPI QR कोड है, जिस पे there is no credit. With PostPay, we opened up BharatPe QR codes for consumers to use credit. We give credit on PostPay. You use it at BharatPe QR codes and pay at the end of the month. Our own version of UPI on credit. It's been 3 months of launched. 1,000 crores has been spent on credit on this app. Great promise, great traction. Again, just getting started. So this is what the journey of BharatPe looks like till now. I hope the success continues. We become a larger player in the ecosystem. The ambition is to become a torch bearer in the fintech industry of India. There are lots of people who would want to start a startup sitting here. कितने लोगों को स्टार्टअप करना है खुद का? लगभग सारे. स्कूल के बच्चों को नहीं करना है. I would give one advice. Don't go after कि मेरे को कूल बनना है, मेरे को फाउंडर बनना है. डोंट गो आफ्टर वैल्यूएशंस. I get it, it's money is needed for the startup, but valuations के लिए नहीं, धंधा बनाने के लिए. And it's available in abundant amounts in current times. Great time to be a founder. But don't go after vanity metrics कि मेरे users है, transactions है, पैसा कितना बनाते हो. Fundamentals of business should not be deviated. You are seeing 44 unicorns. I think we all agree not every one of them would be successful in future. Some of them will crash, some of them will degrow, some of them will die down. Because not everyone has the fundamentals figured out. And the money is so much, they are giving it to whoever they like. Business, where will you make money, needs to be first look after. अगर पैसे बना रहे हो धंधे में, फंडिंग आएगी नहीं आएगी, कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा. बट अगर पैसे नहीं बना रहे हो, फंडिंग आ भी गई, कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा. ये सब प्राइवेट वैल्यूएशंस है. 2-3 people thinks you are worth that much. Doesn't mean anything. It's all notional. अभी भाई ने बोला youngest billionaire, this, that. Everything is notional. I don't have money in pockets. नहीं तो आज यहाँ नहीं बैठा होता. You need to take your venture. The real success of any venture is when you realize that value, when you give returns to your investor, when you make money. Either you get acquired, you sell your shares, or you go public. Public markets are great, liquidity for everyone. Not just public, for investors, for founders, everybody gets liquidity. They can sell shares anytime they want. But recently हमने सबने देखा है, they are harsh. जब तक फंडामेंटल स्ट्रांग नहीं होंगे, वैल्यू रियलाइज नहीं होगी. पेटीएम स्टॉक 25% पे ट्रेड कर रहा है अभी. क्या करोगे? Tens of billions of value. A round was even at 20 billion. Vijay Shekhar, youngest billionaire of India. But we need to get the fundamentals right. Have the reality check of that in your mind always. That's the only advice I wanted to give. And the only reason I'm here is if some of you can take grasp of what a startup is, what kind of hard, if I can help in that, I can give my 2 cents on that. It will give me a personal satisfaction. And I hope I was able to do just that, at least for some of you. And we are launching our campus hiring this year. The BharatPe will come in the campus hiring. Will be open to freshers, young minds, first principle perspective, has zero experience but has observations on everything, has a view of everything. will be happy to have those kind of people. Recently there has been some media buzz around BharatPe. I'm sure some of you follows. But the best part that I wanted to discuss was that business remains unaffected by these things. If something like this happens in your life, just have that in mind, that business potential remains still there. That gets you get going. March was our highest ever month in terms of revenues, in terms of transactions, in terms of number of merchants. Our marketing team is very happy. घर घर में मालूम है भारत पे क्या है. हमने 200 करोड़ लगाए, आईसीसी के स्पॉन्सर बने, वर्ल्ड कप के स्पॉन्सर बने, पर ब्रांड वैल्यू इतनी नहीं बनी. So that's about it. Had a great time chatting here. Thanks for inviting to the management, to the coordination team. I understand physically बहुत time बाद event हो रही है, रात को पार्टी करनी है. All the best for all of your futures. I live nearby. I'll be available. Reach out on LinkedIn, anywhere. But good to see the enthusiasm in the institution. This institution has given the highest unicorns in this country. There must be something here. I haven't figured out क्या है वो. अगर किसी को मालूम हो तो बताना. But yeah, all the best for the future. And had a great time here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the talk, sir. It was really very enlightening, and I hope like every one of us learned something. So we'll open the floor for some questions from the audience. So before that, I like to ask a question of my own. That like इतनी कम उम्र, like 23 years is a very young age. तो इतनी कम उम्र में आपने इतना कुछ हासिल कर लिया, मतलब आप अपने कॉलेज वापस बुलाए गए. तो what next? मतलब लॉन्ग टर्म गोल, एज इन 40-50 साल में कोई रिटायरमेंट का सोचा है आपने कि मतलब सैचुरेशन पॉइंट पर फिर रिटायरमेंट, या फिर अभी आप क्या करेंगे व्हाट मतलब अगले कुछ दिनों में या कुछ सालों में?
See, my short-term goal would be to what I just said, realize the value. We plan to go public in 2 years. We right now are focused only on that. But yes, lots to do at BharatPe, and I would like to have one more stint after BharatPe. Do something globally, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But right now there is a lot to do at BharatPe. The bank is starting up, the consumer company is starting up. So yeah, IPO is a milestone in the very long journey. But yeah, I'll be working on that only. But there would be a point of time where I would like to stay active in giving back rather than building things. And I think it will be much sooner than 40 years that you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so now questions from the audience. We have our hackers with the mic, so जिसको भी पूछना हो just can raise their hand.
Yeah. Hi Shashwat. First of all, a really great lecture. I really enjoyed it. So my question to you is, so as a lot of us are planning to start our own business in the future, and as you said, we should invest in the right people. So how do we select the right people? So what are the qualities that you looked for while selecting the team members at BharatPe? Or what are the things that we should look for in, let's say, a future co-founder or future team members?
Yeah, very important. I think you need to first realize what's your vision. You need to be ready with that. You need to speak with a lot of people. You should have that capability of imparting that vision, communicating that vision. और जब वो आप करोगे तो अपने आप आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कि सामने वाले की आंख में वो चमक, वो स्पार्क आ रहा है कि नहीं. Are they able to grasp, get your vision? Are they able to be committed to that for next few years of their life? Will they give their 100%? Do they have their hard work, dedication? I think that's the general quality that you can see.
Thank you.
And there are two kinds of people. One is who are experienced, what you require in your business, and one is who are just like you. They are willing to do, but they have that attitude कि मेरे को कुछ करना है, कुछ फोड़ना है लाइफ में. दोनों, both are important. You need to be balanced with both, and that's what we also did. We are a very diverse set of people. We have people who are 19-year-olds to people who are 45 years old, and you need both capabilities. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Basil Nabeem. It was a nice talk. My question is, we are seeing a rapid growth in
कहाँ पे है
blockchain-based transactions. Right. Okay. There is a rapid growth in blockchain-based transactions, right? So, how is a centralized service like BharatPe going to be relevant in the space where people are moving towards the decentralized?
Sorry, which space?
Basically, transactions. So, how is a centralized service like BharatPe going to stay relevant in a decentralized, when people are moving towards decentralized transactions?
By that you mean open loop transactions?
No, blockchain-based transactions are, like Ethereum or Bitcoins, stuff like that.
Okay.
So there are obvious, advantages to that being decentralized and anonymous. As you said in your speech, there were like 30 middlemen involved in the UPI gateway and stuff.
Yeah. No, so I think there was a regulation in this space, right, recently, where they've sort of making it regulated. There is a tax on crypto returns. So lot of it depends on the regulators, right? Will RBI or government allow that to happen in India? I think it's a few years away, right? But if you talk about current state of transactions, right, we are very much open loop. We started with closed loop. Demonetization हुआ था, Paytm wallet only gets used at Paytm QR code. It was a closed loop thing. Right now we are open loop. What BharatPe is trying to do is again take it to closed loop. We have UPI QR codes. We have a PostPay app which gives credit on QR code. So the ideal state in next few years would be that transaction happens closed loop. Money doesn't move. It's just numbers that move from this customer to this merchant.
Right, but still the identity of the merchants is like the people involved are public and stuff.
People involved are, sorry?
The identity of the person or the parties involved is public, like which is not in the case of blockchain.
Yeah, you're talking about identity.
Identity, yes.
Yeah. Yes,
So
so
that is an
definitely
issue.
decentralization has its benefit. I'm not denying that, but can we do that in India today? No. There is no regulation. If you want to do, you can do, but then there is a risk of regulators saying someday that it's illegal, and then your business is zero.
Right.
So I think the best thing to do would be to wait for regulation and then think of something. But still, if that excites you, then there are international markets, Singapore, Dubai, where crypto startups are based, US.
Talking from a technological point of view, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, grounding us by telling that you shouldn't be chasing valuation and all the points you share. So my question is about when you started your talk by saying that we used to visit merchants. So was it more five boys going to merchants and trying to understand what kind of problems they are facing? Or is it more that you were clear ki, yeah, I know that this is like one of those pain points that merchants are facing, and then let me talk to them and try to understand मैं कैसे solve कर सकता हूँ?
No, so it was not clear from before. We generally were visiting merchants. एक दो के साथ बात करी तो मालूम पड़ा they are facing problems. I myself had a startup where I was facing problems as a merchant. You know, people are charging 2.5%. My commission is like 4-5%. How do I pay that? So that was there back of the mind. But once we talked to these merchants, and we were very active, it was kind of like a pilot. What we did was we went to these merchants, भीम डाउनलोड करवाया, QR कोड प्रिंट किया, एक लगाया वहाँ पे, एंड देन वी सॉ कि कितने ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहे हैं. भीम इज़ बाय डिफॉल्ट इंटरऑपरेबल. हम खड़े रहते थे, जो भी कस्टमर आता है करो ट्रांजैक्शन, कोई भी ऐप से करो, एंड दैट इंस्पायर्ड अस कि भाई ये तो चलेगा. देयर इज़ अ ह्यूज डिमांड गैप देयर.
And you were able to pull this off entire tech of having that QR code and then putting it to merchants. आप 5 लोग कर
There's
पाए थे.
not much tech behind it.
Got it,
brother. The UPI QR code by itself is interoperable by design. NPCI ने बनाया ही वैसे है कि any otherwise तो nobody would allow it. There is no, it's mandatorily open loop. Google Pay can't stop a transaction going at a Paytm UPI को. They can't.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I wrote a statement also there on the photos. At the beginning of anything, do things that don't scale. Basically, which means do things by yourself. Do everything by yourself. तब जाके समझ आएगा कि आगे कैसे बनाना है. That lays the foundation of lots of decision making that you face in the coming years.
So sir, like the last question I have. So you said.
भाई तू तो यार बाहर भी मिलता है. कोऑर्डिनेटर है ना. किसी और को मौका दो थोड़ा.
Hello sir. Sir, BharatPe is basically working on loan lending. So loans के साथ में एक risk involved होता है, तो उसे कैसे tackle किया जाता है BharatPe में?
See, there is an underwriting algorithm, right? But it's called underwriting. जो risk को underwrite करना बोलते हैं, कितना लोन किसको देना कि नहीं देना. So there are two factors. One is credit score. You get score from CIBIL, you get from Experian. You can see if he has defaulted in the past or no, what kind of loans he has taken or no, right? So one is that. But that is a very smaller part of what we do. A larger part comes from how he transacts at our QR code. उसका cash flow कितना है. And I think, very few people in the industry gets to have that kind of access to merchant data, and that's what fuels our underwriting. But of course, it's a high risk, high return kind of a segment. We charge higher interest, and therefore defaults are also.
For taking our time to mentor us. So, what I found very interesting was the statement that you said कि we intentionally didn't aim for the unicorn status. We ended our funding round at 950 million.
Yeah.
So I found it very interesting, and I would like to know the reasons, considering the fact that being a unicorn would have certainly bought you some great marketing points.
No, so see, we were a B2B company, right? We don't need branding, we don't need marketing. We are a sales heavy organization, not a marketing heavy organization.
Okay.
If your company is a direct to consumer company, you need to build that brand. You need to have that marketing ambassadors and all of that. And because we had that advantage कि वो बनाना नहीं है वैसा brand, so we wanted to stay under the radar. And that's the best thing there can be in a business. Do your thing, make your own value, be under the radar. Being unicorn obviously gives you into limelight, news, media सब चालू होता है.
Okay. So मतलब was your ideas being copied one of the reasons that?
Sorry? No.
Okay.
It's just that लोगों की नजरों में नहीं आना basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So before we go to session 1, I guess it will be an important question for the audience participants in our college. That how much did IIT help you while you were starting your mentor? and in terms of like grades or in terms of courses or like many times you would have to take off-level classes. So any way did IIT professors or IIT community help you in like starting the venture?
I don't think so. No, but it was a different time. I think the times have changed. The management, the academics are, the deans and all are very pro startup. I am in touch with Professor PVM Rao, Dean Alumni Affairs. He's doing lots of things with different governments everywhere. And I think it's now it would be a very good ecosystem where the institution is supporting do that. And anyway, at our time, we could take a break of 2 years to start your own thing. So that was very helpful. There's no risk. If it doesn't work, we'll come back. And I did. I completed my graduation. So that was very helpful. Yeah.
I guess we have one last question coming from faculty, student from school.
Hi, so I wanted to ask, you have a very unique name, BharatPe. How did you come up with it?
Yeah. See, अपना देश बड़ा इमोशनल है. जनता को थोड़ा इमोशन चाहिए रहता है. तो हमने भीम ऑब्जर्व किया, हमने बहुत सारे नाम चेक किए. But what it represents is not India, but the Bharat side of the country, where small shopkeepers, kirana stores, tier 2, 3 and beyond kind of population is what we are serving to. And that is what I think gets reflected in the name Bharat. And pay was like, payment company ka trend hai, pay chalana, lagana har jagah, so BharatPe. So that's how we discovered. There's not too much science into it.
So another question coming from school students here.
Good morning, sir. Sir, my question is that getting into IIT is a really huge deal. And what I've observed is that many IIT alumni and aspirants want to go into Google or Facebook or work abroad. But sir, you being a former IIT student, deciding to work in India and for India, when you could have actually worked abroad and got a lot of money, how did you actually come up with this decision?
First of all, मेरे को ये जॉब कभी मिलती नहीं. So let me clear that first. I was not a coder. I was not a सत्ती अट्ठी नैली. शायद सत्ती था, मेरे को याद भी नहीं. But the thing is, the thing which I realized much before is that India has lots of unrealized potential. See, US markets, everything is saturated now. Developed countries are saturated. India has that promising population. Number of people itself is so huge. And as I said, there are lots of problems to solve. इतने ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम है कि स्टार्टअप्स 44 तो कुछ नहीं है, किसी साल 400 यूनिकॉर्न हो जाएंगे. So that is something where I come from a very tier 3 city, small town. So I've seen that, and that is something which sort of held me back. Let's build something in India, and we are seeing that trend. Like a person would be a fool right now to go abroad and start a business. There is a lot to do here, lots of unrealized potential, huge credit gap. Look at other markets, US, Europe, and look at India. Credit is rarely penetrated in any kind of product. House loans, car loans, any product you take, it's rarely penetrated heavily. So I saw that, and that is what held me back.
End this discussion formally, I'd like to invite Chairperson of Tryst, Professor Sir, and Vice Chairperson of Sujin sir and Vice Chairperson of Tryst, Professor Ashok Kumar Patil sir, to deliver the moment of appreciation. Mr. Shashvat. Very energetic job. I guess this will end our session. So whoever like from the coordinator and all who would like to interact with us can leave you backstage. And after the session we have a UPC session lined up with Dr. Riyaz Khan, the founder of Khan Study Group, and IRS Ms. Shizmi Mittal. So whoever will be attending will be getting some free merchandise from Khan Study Group. So we'll be starting with that session at 12. So whoever wants to attend can kindly sit. Thanks a lot everyone. And we have a Fintech panel starting in seminar hall. So those who are very interested in Fintech can go to seminar hall.
Hello, I have an announcement to make. First of all, let the school students get dispersed. They have another event or a campus tour ahead. This is the official announcement for the closing ceremony. It's the first announcement. I'm going to narrate what are the performances that we're having. There's a skeleton dance group coming from India's Got Talent. There's a laser show and a classical dance performance, followed by which there will be the comedy night by Mr. Gaurav Kapoor, right? The registration link for the closing ceremony is now on the Instagram bio. However, there's a catch. There are limited registrations, and as of now, for the pre-registrations, the link will open for limited time as a part of different guest lecture series. Currently, there's the Fintech panel in the seminar hall. The link will open for probably 5-7 minutes. It will be protected by a code. The code will be provided there. So we do encourage you to attend that session and get your passes booked for the closing ceremony. The session starts in about 10 minutes in the seminar hall, and the password and the code will be provided there. Thank you so much.